with the amount of characters that Stranger Things has, they are doing a very good job of moving around while also keeping the characters connected, whether they're physically together or not. Welcome to Nerdy and Nice. We have a very special episode for you today because this episode is going to be our spoiler review of Stranger Things 5 Volume 1, which is episodes 1 through 4 of this final season. Each of them over an hour long, a lot to talk about. But again, I'm John. With me as always is Lacey. So welcome to Nerdy and Nice. So first off, if you just saw that we were doing a spoiler review of Stranger Things and you didn't know who we were and you're like, I'm going to check them out. Welcome. This is what we do here. Usually we're talking movies, TV, some pop culture news, all that sort of stuff. Of course, in conjunction with our bigger show, the Resistance Broadcast, which is our Star Wars podcast. So thank you so much for finding TRB and being with us. If you're a mainstay and you've been with us for a while, you're like, just get on with it. I get it. But we have to let the new people know what we're all about. We're a really good time. We're a fun show. We have a lot of segments. We have audience involvement. We have a Patreon. We have so many cool things. So if you enjoy this video, whether you agree or disagree with our varying points of view, because I think we do have varying points of view on the first batch of Season 5 for Stranger Things, hopefully you stick around and check out our other podcasts here at TRB. But Lacey, how you doing? How was your Thanksgiving? How are you overall? And love the fact that you're wearing the newest Resistance Broadcast logo sweatshirt hoodie.
Yeah. This sweatshirt, and I'm not just saying it because it's ours, I'm saying as an actual sweatshirt, it is the softest, most comfortable sweatshirt I've ever owned. Like, it is my go-to when I'm at home. It's my go-to when I'm like, I just need to grab something to feel comfy while I'm running the kids everywhere.
Yeah, our stuff.
I love the color. It's like a really nice foresty green. And we've heard only good things about it from everybody.
Yeah.
Which might as well, because we're here. If you want one, trbpodcast.com.
Go get them.
I got the graphic right here. But how was my Thanksgiving? My Thanksgiving was good. It's nice to spend time with my friends and family and kids. I love cooking, so it's a highlight for me. I did 2 Thanksgivings. I did Thursday Thanksgiving, and then I did a full Friday Thanksgiving at my house with my parents, and I cooked everything, and I did it in 90 minutes.
That's big time.
I know. I'm so proud of myself. I killed it.
Next up, Gordon Ramsay, right?
I wish. I'm not that good. That being said, my highlight of Thanksgiving, I'm not even kidding you, was the Thanksgiving Day parade with the K-pop Demon Hunters. They performed Golden for the first time live. I'm a big K-pop Demon Hunters fan. They were so good. They had Ken, the guy that plays Bobby, the manager, introduce them, which was so fun. They had a Derpy Cat balloon, and stats came out over the weekend of how big of a moment it was. It had the largest streaming audience from 11 to 11:15 when they sang, which had more viewers than the 2019 Oscars, which is holding the highest viewpoint for live streaming.
But they were probably lip syncing because it was a Thanksgiving parade.
They were singing live on mic. And they practiced the night before in the rain.
Right,
it was a big deal. They sang so they didn't do it on a float. They did it coming out of Macy's, so that's why they did it full singing. They didn't do it lip syncing.
All right, very good.
Where the floats come by, they were lip syncing. Some of those people were not good at it.
Right on. Well,
yeah,
I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving, a double
How was
Thanksgiving. It was good. My sister hosted for the first time, and it was a packed house. She has a raised ranch, so it was a tight quarters, but we made it work. And the kids had a good time. Everyone had a good time. And the weekend, of course, even though it was a long weekend, just flew by. And here we are.
Is raised ranch to the stairs in the front?
Yeah, like the split
That's
stairs.
what my sister-in-law has.
Yeah. So
partying in the same house in different locations.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so here we are on Sunday night. Usually we record towards the tail end of the week, but because of Stranger Things, we were like, we can't put out an episode on Monday not reviewing the biggest show on the planet. So Here we are talking about Stranger Things 5, episodes 1 through 4. This whole episode is going to be dedicated to talking about it because there's a lot to talk about. It's over 4 hours of the show. There's new characters, there's plot twists and turns, and we're just going to dive right into it. Now, Lacey, I know off air you said you wanted me to kick things off, which is totally cool with me. I'm going to start by saying I enjoyed it. I can tell that the scale is obviously bigger. We knew that going in. They prepped the audience. The one thing, the Duffer Brothers are very good at a lot of things. Clearly meeting deadlines in terms of filming schedule. You don't hear too much problems with their productions or anything like that. But also, they seem to have had an end game in mind. But also at the same time, they're very good at preparing their audience expectations. Like they came out and said, now this might be a lie, but they came out and said, Eddie Munson's dead. They're like, Eddie Munson's dead. I'm sorry to tell everyone. And I'm holding them to that word. And that's a smart thing for them to do. But they also said this season's going to be bigger. It's going to be bloodier. It's going to be dark. But because he needed to. So they do a good job of preparing the audience. And I think they may have learned lessons from shows of past, like Game of Thrones. You know, everyone has their expectations of what's going to happen in these shows. And there's certain fans that go into these things with the predetermined conclusion in their mind, like Daenerys is not going to die. She's not going to turn evil. She's not going to burn everything down the way she said she was going to in season 1. And she did. And people were still mad
I don't know if you
about
want to lead with that comparison on this podcast.
But what I'm trying to say is, I hope people learn lessons from stuff like that. And even if you have a desired outcome, I want Steve Harrington to live, I want Eddie Munson to come back, I want to make sure that Mike and Elle end up together in the end, and all. I hope Will survives, all that stuff. That's fine, but don't get mad at the people who actually invented this stuff if their actual story doesn't connect with what you want. And that's all I'm saying. So I've been going into a lot of stuff like that with that mentality, and I think I've been enjoying final seasons of things that people maybe sometimes aren't because of that. But I'm not here to high horse at all. I do have my criticisms so far of Stranger Things 5. I'll get to those in a second because I know you have some too, and I think I liked this first batch more than you did. But I'll start with the really good stuff. And I think the production quality is excellent and the special effects are top notch. This looks like very cinematic in terms of how it was shot. I feel like they have not shortchanged any element of it. I'll also say, with the amount of characters that Stranger Things has, they are doing a very good job of moving around while also keeping the characters connected, whether they're physically together or not. I feel like every character is getting an earned arc, especially Will. And that's the thing that hit me the most. Obviously, it's the big drop at the end, the big needle drop at the end of episode 4, where Will, I'm sure people are getting tired of seeing him just thriving on the ground every time he's near Vecna or whatever. He finally channels Vecna's powers, maybe because of that push Mike gave him by sort of saying, like, you're kind of like Vecna. And he's like, wait a minute. And he started realizing, if I can see what he sees, then maybe I can control what he sees. So seeing that moment of Will finally having his moment, the music swelling, everyone's eyes on him, the camera work, very Spielberg with those pushes you always talk about, Lacey. And then we finally see him do the Vecna move on those Demogorgons to save all of his friends. Because I was sitting there, Lacey, like watching, saying like, oh, Lucas is finished. Someone's getting killed here. I don't know which one it is. And then that moment happened. So that's going to be one of those iconic moments of this series. You know, it's 11 flipping the truck, or it's the running up that hill, or it's Will channeling the powers of Vecna. Like, so far, that's the big moment from this season. And I think a lot of people were receptive to it. There are
I saw
some
over the top views, though, some reactions online where people were like crying and stuff. I was like, that's a little much.
Probably a little much. But it is cool seeing it be earned for Will, because sometimes these shows, especially in a final season, they'll twist stuff up on you. Like, and not to bring up Game of Thrones again, but that was the most recent final season that people just really flipped out about. Having Bran be like the chosen one at the end, people were like, what are they doing here? In this felt earned. Will went through all of this, and they slowly pecked away at what that connection was, so that when that moment happened, it was jaw-dropping for me. I was like, oh my God. But at the same time, I'm like, this feels like this should be happening. Like, it's not like one of those things like this came out of nowhere that shows do a lot. So I give them so much credit for how they did that slow build for Will, because I know you and I have been talking about like, what is Will's fate going to be? And we still don't know. He
Oh,
still
he's
could die.
dying.
He still could live. We're not
He's
sure.
dying. He's dying.
I don't think he's dying.
He's
But
dying. He's the main connector of the hive mind. He's dying.
I don't think so.
Dead.
But,
Dead. I will make a bet with
but
you right now. You want to make a bet?
we'll
I will
get to
bet
that.
with you that
We'll
hive
get to
that he dies.
Here are my biggest issues with season 5 so far.
Okay.
I think the entire Holly Wheeler thing is a mistake. And the reason I feel that way is we never felt connected to Holly Wheeler ever. She was
I think
like
they're painting this weird thing behind the scenes. They've done a lot of interviews over the past weekend because the show's out, where the Duffer Brothers are like, "Oh, she's the, the connector of all the stories. She's this, she's that." And I'm like, I feel like she is because you ran out of ideas and you were just like, "Let's bring in Holly."
It's almost like because Will had to be lifted to this place, they needed another kid to like be a main connection of the core group that gets abducted or whatever. And they're like, who's left? They're like, who has siblings? They're like, well, there's the little Wheeler daughter. Let's bring her back in. And they cast a new actress for it. And I'm not disparaging her at all. She's fine. She's great. That's all good. But the character, I just don't care about that character because she was a fringe like background character, almost less than the dad, Ted Wheeler. And all of a sudden now we're supposed to care about her, and it doesn't even feel like Mike cares about his sister that much. So, or I mean, Nancy does, but Mike's like all over the place trying to be like the leader of the group. So the whole Holly Wheeler thing I could have done without. I think they could have helped tell the story of what Vecna's doing without involving that. Like use the Max thing, whatever. You don't need to have her be with Holly Wheeler all of a sudden. So that I didn't like. And then the other thing that upset me a little, but I like that they chose this path, is what's happening with Dustin, which it's very sad.
Oh, I loved the Dustin storyline. That was one of the highlights for me of this 4-episode arc. He's so good. He is such a good actor.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I think what breaks my heart the most is the last conversation that Eddie and Dustin have before they go into the Upside Down and get into the chaos with all the master puppets and all that in the bats and stuff. It was this one-on-one heart-to-heart where they were wrestling with each other, and then Eddie just grabs Dustin and he goes, "Never change, Dustin Henderson. Never change." And he was like the one person. We always saw Dustin being this little outsider at the dance in season 2. He was one of the 4 boys, but he was always the most nerdy, most outsider-ish out of all of them, it felt like, with the school society. The way the cliques are in school and stuff like that. He was always sort of the outcast in that way. And then we see him in this season, and he did change. And unfortunately, he is trying to fill Eddie's shoes and be Eddie Munson. He grew his hair long just like Eddie. He's wearing the Hellfire shirt. He has more of an attitude. He's flipping the finger. He's being more defiant. He's at the head of the table in the lunchroom now. He's the head of Hellfire, even though it's sort of not happening. And it's sad to see that Eddie was like, "I love you for who you are, Dustin. Don't ever change. Don't ever change." And Dustin did change. So I'm thinking by the end of season 5, Dustin is going to find himself again while still honoring Eddie. So he's going through it right now. I love that he is the keeper of the flag for Eddie, and that's awesome. And how he punked those guys back. I love all of that. Because standing up to bullies is a huge thing. For me, I was bullied as a kid, so I totally am down with that angle. I just feel bad that they had that moment in season 4 where he's like, never change, and he does change, but he changes into what he thinks he should be, which is like Eddie. And you can't be like somebody you're not. You can fake it, and that's what Dustin's finding out is he can't be like Eddie.
Yeah, it's the way he's dealing with the trauma of seeing him die in front of him. The other piece of that too is that over the course of this series, you've seen the kids really change, and that first season, it's such like everything is so magical because they're such close friends. And it seems like through Elle coming in and then Will having the issue and all these other things, and Lucas finds Max, that he has kind of been left behind. And
Yeah.
Steve Harrington was the first one that he was like, "Oh, we're buddy now. We're buddies." And then he found Eddie. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm better friends with Eddie," because then Steve got involved with Robin and left Dustin behind. So it's sad because you see him kind of get passed around in the sense of like, hey, something's more important. You get pushed aside. And then the one person that he finally clicks with that he feels like is a genuine friend or a brother, he watches him die. So now he's
Exactly.
back to being the one man out again.
Yeah, and he definitely looked at Eddie like an older brother in a
Yeah,
way, that he didn't have with Steve. Like, him and Steve sort of had this, like, opposites attract, like, buddy cop cool thing going on,
they did.
but
Yeah.
you could tell even in that one season that him and Eddie, like, there was this closeness to, and they did a great job selling
And
that
he's
chemistry.
mad at Steve now. Like every time
Yeah.
he interacts with Steve now, it's very like, get out of my face. You're an idiot. Like,
Yeah, and
shut up.
that's what I mean, like, Dustin's going through it right now, so, like, the fun, sweet, loyal,
I know.
wouldn't harm a soul to, Dustin Henderson has this angsty edge to him now that I feel like he, even though Will goes through obvious physical change with these powers that he's harnessing, which he doesn't have powers, in my opinion. I think he just is able to capture Vecna's powers when
You're
he's
saying
near
like
him.
Rogue?
Yeah, I don't think Will is able to just do 11 stuff at any time. I think it has to be when Vecna's near. I think that's what it has, like when he feels him, like on the back of his neck, that type of stuff. But like Dustin really has changed a lot, and I do think he's going to come back around in the end because I think he's going to, survive and stuff like that. But those were my main issues. But overall, I thought it was really strong. There are some things that I feel like maybe they're trying to get too complicated with it, where now it's not just the upside down. Now it's in the upside down, but you're also in Henry's head in this mental world, and there's so many layers to it that I feel like it is getting a little too complex from what we started with. And that happens all the time. Happened with Harry Potter, happens with all these stories. Star Wars certainly got more complex and
Yeah.
darker at times.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's any different, but it's for a last season to start opening these new layers to the onion. It's a lot, and you're adding the number 008 girl back in the mix here, and there's theories about that I've been reading online that maybe we can get to. But overall, it's strong. I am hoping for a really like land the plane type of conclusion to this because they are throwing a lot of the actors are throwing around that word satisfied, and we've heard that a lot with a lot of shows and a lot of movies. Star Wars did it for episode 9, and it makes you a little nervous.
They
But
also said
overall,
that
it's strong.
yeah, the Duffer Brothers did say in an interview that they are gonna bring it back to the beginning, and I know a lot of fans are driving themselves nuts being like, "Oh my god, if we end up in the basement at the end of this and it was all like a game or
Remember,
like
I
an
said that a
imaginary."
long time ago.
Yeah, I think people might lose it. I think they might lose the entire fandom if they do that. I'm not gonna lie.
The Duffer Brothers did also clarify and say like what you're seeing and what's happening is real. So
But Finn Wolfhard did come out in a recent interview too and say that he is in the last scene, and he said he's in the last scene alone. That's what he said. So, we'll see what
yeah.
happens, but, all right. Well, I'll start with, Dustin, who I would say was definitely in season 1, along with Steve, were my favorite characters. So, when they, like, started teaming up, I was like, "Oh my god, yes!" Like, my 2 favorites. So, to see him struggling this season was, like you said, just, like, really painful to watch, and
Mhm.
especially, like, when he gets, like, beat up, I was like, "This is like, no one cares, no one's here for him," and then the radio's like, "Where could you be, man?" I was like, "He's literally getting beat up,"
Yeah.
and you're, like, criticizing him over the radio.
Mhm.
I Alright, here's where I'm gonna go with this. So, I was not a fan of these episodes so far. I
Yeah.
think there are highlights, like, there are moments that I'm like, "Oh, that's good," or, "Oh, this acting is great." I thought, Dustin was a standout. I thought Nancy was a standout, and I thought Mike was great, and I thought the scenes with Nancy and Mike were great. brother sister scenes that are just showing how they've changed. I thought Steve, and I'm kind of stealing this from you a little bit, John, not with this, but with Star Wars specifically, he's kind of becoming Han Solo in Return of the Jedi. They're making him into such a jokey character, one note guy, that I'm not really sure. I don't know where they go from here except to kill him. I don't think they're going to, because I think Netflix loves him so much that they're going to kind of push that hand and be like, you can't kill Steve. But I guess some of the issues that I have are, one, I think there is a clear difference in level and range of the actors and who stuck with acting and other projects and probably going to acting classes and who didn't. And I think that there are scenes where some of the actors are out acting other people on screen. Dustin is one of them. Every scene he's in, he's awesome. He steals the scene. He's great. He is who he is. Like, you feel for that. I think Steve phones it in. I think Robin has become annoying this season. Like, she is not likable at all, which when she appeared on screen originally in season 3 as like the Scoops Ahoy girl, she was likable. Like, she was the new fan favorite. I don't think that's the case anymore. It's become, I don't know, a little too much. And I saw interviews with her over the weekend where they were asking the girl that plays Nancy Wheeler, like, about her love triangle with Steve and Jonathan. And she was just like, well, what about me? What about me in the love triangle? And I was like, stop. I thought Will is terrible. He's an absolutely terrible actor. Terrible. All the lines he gave outside of that last scene, John, I will give you the scene with the whole tearing up Demogorgons thing. I'll give you that. But I have to admit to you that it's only hand movements and crazy staring. It's not really acting. It's like, I'm here. I'm doing this thing. Any scene where he's like explaining things to people, like when he's in the barn talking to Joyce and like all, it just not there. The delivery wasn't there. It just came across very kind of like, I don't know how to like very not chunky. Chunky isn't the word. Clunky is the word. It just seemed like he did that thing that actors do where they shake their head a lot when they're like trying to act and like really be into something. And it's like, no, that's not acting, shaking your head. Yeah. And for him to be the main character bothers me because he's not the best one. Whereas Mike would outact him in scenes. Like Finn was great.
I agree with you with Noah Schnapp for most of this season. There was one scene that, though, I was like, oh, damn, he was like, that was really believable and that was really good. And it was that one scene when they were about to sneak into or go down like Hopper's bunker, and it's just him and Mike, and Robin's watching them. And I thought he did a good job with his facial expressions in receiving what Mike was saying. It felt like he was really touched by what Mike was saying to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that scene he did a really good job in, which was, again, one of the later scenes before they get into the craziness. So hopefully there's more to come from him there. But I'll agree with you. I think he was one of the weaker performances out of most of the 4 episodes. And I know you're about to say it, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but I feel like we had this feeling with interviews with Millie Bobby Brown that she was sort of already done after season 4. She was like over Stranger Things, and she had these other aspirations. Yeah. She's getting married, the fashion stuff.
She has other a baby. Yeah.
Movies. She had a baby?
She adopted a baby girl. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So I feel like she kind of, compared to how good she had been previously, this feels a little like her heart wasn't fully in it or something.
It felt like she was dialing it in every scene. Like, it felt like a little, and it felt really repetitive. I feel like that's my overwhelming thought of season 5 so far, has been like repetition. Like, it's the same stuff with similar characters and similar tension building and similar oh, we're doing this again. Oh, this is happening again.
The situation's clever, though. The lockdown, I thought that was a smart way to keep everybody in the same, because everyone kept saying, why do these people just get the hell out and stay out?
Yes,
and now they can't.
Yes. And I'm glad you're here to counteract what I'm saying, because there are moments like that to remind me that there is some stuff in here. So The other thing that the other thing that's kind of like the elephant in the room that's been crazy on social media over the past I don't know, a few days, that I feel like I want to address it, but I don't know if I really want to talk about it that much, which is like there's this vision or opinion, which I similarly share, that Vecna has gotten like super creepy with children. And I know that a lot of people run that parallel of it. And it's interesting because Holly Wheeler is also being compared to a main character in that new show from It that just came out, which is another kind of young girl that It is obsessed with. The thing with Vecna is that it is super creepy, and the whole like kind of taking over kids and sticking stuff in their mouth is kind of creepy, and it was taken very poorly by a lot of fans online. And I know the fact that he is meeting Holly Wheeler at school and like having her play house with him is like clearly grooming behavior. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just creepy. It's just creepy. So it went from like an evil monster that does terrible things to like there's something else going on here that's really weird. And then the cave thing, which we'll get to. But I don't know. And like what did they do to Vecna? He has like no waist anymore. Like what's going on?
Well, I heard after he got torched at the end of season 4, he switched to Atkins, as far as I know. So.
Everyone's like, what is he on? Ozempic? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's I guess Vecna as a villain is not doing it for me right now. Like
Oh, interesting.
it used to be creepy because you wouldn't see him as much. Like you saw him in these big moments. And like even the Demogorgons, like you'd see them once. So it was like that like unseen creepiness, like Jaws. And then now we see so much of the Demogorgons this season. It's like every other scene is with a Demogorgon. And I'm like,
It's
it's a
yeah,
lot.
it is a lot, and I will say I remember being a little concerned with like, is this going to be like Saving Private Ryan, just in Stranger Things, where now all the monsters are here and it's going to be complete chaos, and it was in that last episode. But I
Mhm.
thought the Duffer Brothers shot it really well. Like they were in the eye of the storm of all the battles happening with the Demogorgons flying out of these pockets that were opening, and it didn't feel like a Jason Bourne movie where I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at, or a Transformers movie where I'm like, I don't know which Autobots which.
But it
I felt like
did
I
feel
saw everybody doing everything, and the way they cohesively shot that, I thought was
yeah.
really well done and underrated. It was done so well.
But I do feel like with the big budget, which you're right, everything looked great, it was shot great, like, that's all there. I feel like it's been marvelized. Like, it's very if you were to look at this season compared to season 1 or even season 2, it's clear they have a bigger budget, so they're, like, going crazy with these scenes and the special effects and stuff, and it just feels less charming than it did season 1, where they were clearly on a tight budget, so they had to be creative with things, like, more practical with things, and I think that sometimes, despite special effects looking great and being shot wonderfully, you lose a bit of the charm from, like, something like this, which is very it's supposed to be like E.T. or Amblin or something from the '80s because it takes place in the '80s, and as you get further from that, I feel like I lose that. So, like, yeah, they're dressed in the '80s, and yeah, this takes place in the '80s, but
Hmm.
it's too now?
But what did you think of? I know you said you weren't a fan of Vecna,
Yeah.
but how about his? And it was, I guess, inspired by Darth Vader in Rogue One. I thought his arrival was really cool.
Where he comes out of, like, the pocket thing?
Hmm. That worked for me. I really thought that
It
was
was
really cool.
it was very Thanos. Like, again, it's just, like, it feels like so Marvel. Like, "Hey, this guy comes out of nowhere, and he has the gauntlet, and he's gonna take everybody down, and everybody dies."
Oh,
It's
I thought it was
very
better than
Thanos,
Thanos.
and it's very Thanos Endgame to me, where he comes out of the space-time thing, and he snaps in, and he walks out, and everyone's like, "Oh god, he's here." And then
Yeah.
even the emotion of, like and I'm taking Will out of this because I think Will isn't included, like, that whole segment. I'm saying from Vecna showing up to him causing all this drama to stealing the kids feels very Endgame. Thanos shows up, the good guys try to fight him, he gets his way, snaps his fingers, people die, he leaves, leaving people to pick up the pieces. Yeah, I think one of the highlights for me was, like I said, Nancy. I thought Nancy was great. The scene where she sees her mother was heartbreaking. Like the reaction on her face was really, really well done by the actress.
How about that scene, by the way? Carabuano with the wine bottle and all that. That was wild.
Again, the Marvel quips. If I was face to face with a Demogorgon and my daughter was behind me, there's no way I would have the time to make some snarky comment before that thing tries to kill me.
What'd she say? Like, stay away from my daughter?
I forget what it was. It was some snarky, like, you can't get me guy or something. And I was like, oh, come on.
I thought she was awesome. I mean, I love Carabuano anyway. Yeah. I thought she was great. The fact
I thought the tub part was cool where they're in the tub.
Yeah.
Because that's a really cool shot that they're underwater like that. It's just interesting to me that Karen doesn't die. Seemingly Ted doesn't die. Like no one dies in this.
That's the whole point.
But you're telling me, so we're halfway through the season now. There's 8 episodes. They're halfway through the season and no one has died.
But
not one person. It just doesn't, it feels like there's no high risk, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I understand.
Yeah.
But, you know, from my point of view,
sure,
they are playing with our emotions because we thought we had the big final Jim Hopper martyr moment there, and we thought he was saying goodbye, and that was false flag. So you're like, oh, okay.
And how many times have we done that with Hopper too? I'm gonna throw that out there. How many times have we done the Hopper stuff, guys?
I understand.
How many times are we gonna do this?
But the Duffer brothers are smart, and they know that we know this is the final season, so all bets are off. So they do that with Hopper. There's always the thought that Eleven's gonna die. I thought Lucas was gonna eat it at one point. We always worry about Will and Dustin when he was getting beat up. I'm like, well, are they gonna kill this kid? Everyone
that was the only one I was worried about was Dustin when they were beating him up. I was like, oh my god, is this how he dies?
They're gonna beat him to death. Yeah. And he's gonna die right by Eddie's grave or something like that. Like who knows? Because they said you're gonna cry and this is gonna be hard and this is gonna be so they know that, and they're playing with our emotions with all these characters and these like fake out deaths, and I'm fine with that because I think deaths are coming. The moment I saw Jonathan bust out when Murray snuck him the engagement ring, I'm like, oh, he is gone. I was right. I'm like, Jonathan's toast. There's no way she's getting that ring. Like Steve's gonna have to like give it to her and say, Jonathan got this for you or something like that. Like the moment I saw that ring, I was like, Jonathan's not making it out of here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's dying and I think Will's dying.
So you think Steve is living? Because I think it's either Jonathan or Steve that are dying. And I early on said I think it's going to be Jonathan because I thought Will was going to live. You still think Will's dying. We'll get to that. But one of them's dying. And at this point, it seems like the way they're putting emphasis on Jonathan more than Steve in terms of serious character progression. Like you were saying, like Steve hasn't really had his moments yet this season. And maybe he shows up late in the game. They hide him under the weeds, so we're not expecting it. But it seems like their focus is more on building up the emotional connection with Jonathan so they can rip our hearts out. And that engagement ring does it, for sure.
I think with Steve, they've already done that before. It would be so old school, like not old school in the fun way, but like old done before stuff. Like season 2, they were flirting like, will Steve die? It was like literally the advertisements.
Yeah.
Will Steve survive?
Right.
And then season 3, will Steve make it out? I think if they kill him off at this point, if I was a Duffer brother, I'd be like, that just seems lame because people have been like, will Steve die? Will Steve die? Will Steve die? So I think that character's kind of untouchable. And I feel like
they've done a lot of the sacrificial stuff. Like Eddie already.
Yeah. So moment. It would just feel.
And they can't just kill Steve. It would have to be in a hero moment.
I think Robin's dying because Steve clearly has some feelings for Robin. You see that in the very first episode where they're like doing the DJ thing.
She's gonna be there at the end.
No, I think she's
she's gonna be
dying, and
hosting
then
her.
Steve is fine. She's dying, and then Jonathan's dying. So then it drives Steve and Nancy to end up together.
I think Steve and Nancy will end up together for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think Jonathan's dying. I feel like Robin's gonna make it through to the end though. I just have a feeling like she's gonna be hosting her radio show at the end, like wrapping up everything that happened or something like that. But th- like performances aside, I think we covered most of them in terms of like, have they been carrying their weight? Have people slipped a bit? What did you think of the Max thing? And now that we're in Henry's memories in this world he's made, and she's found a path in his mind where she can hide from him, that's where it started getting too complex for me. Like, I was fine with Max not dying at the end of last season, and we'll see what ends up happening with her in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they had the window open for her, and the tape stopped, and he had to rewind it, and now she's with Holly, not in the Upside Down, but she's in Henry's head, but it's his memories. It's so down a rabbit hole of plot that it bothered me a little, because I'm like, this show's already so complex with so many characters, so many arcs, and the central focus should just really be, how do they stop this guy without taking us into different paths through minds and stuff like that. I think they're getting a
Yeah.
little too convoluted. But what was your take on how they are utilizing Max in this season?
Well, I think Max, played by Sadie, is she was really good. She's great, which she's one of the most successful actors to come out of this series. She's done Broadway. She's doing a Marvel thing now. She's done a ton of stuff. I think she's also responsible, from the Netflix angle of things, for the most viral moment of the last season. Like, she
Yeah.
is the thing everybody remembers from season 4.
Mhm.
So it would probably be hard for them to let her go because she's such a fan favorite character. That being said, it's very, like you said, Inception, and that she is dead but not dead. She's in the Upside Down, but in his mind. Like, he stole her soul but not her body. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure how that works. Because, like, Holly, in comparison, is with her at one point, which of course she got the big reveal, that it's her and not Henry or Vecna or whatever.
Yeah.
But Holly was taken to the Upside Down by a Demogorgon. So one would assume for Holly to be in this Inception world, she would have to have the whole tentacle down her throat, and she's
She
in
does. They
the
showed her. Her.
the goo
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Which is apparently KY jelly, according to Jamie Campbell Bower. He's like, yeah, they just dumped KY jelly all over my body.
gross. So gross, not helping. All right.
True,
So
it's a
then
fact.
I know. I'm saying with what I said earlier, it's not helping. So the fact that Max's body is in the normal world, in the normal dimension, and then Holly's in the Upside Down, but yet they're both meeting in this mind dimension, with the connection of Henry. I don't know. I think, like you said, it's getting too complicated because it doesn't make sense to me. It would make sense to me if he still had Max's body and then was using her mind. But how did that happen unless when she was connected there in the Upside Down at some point, he then connected with her like he's connected with Will, like the whole hive mind thing, which makes me think that Max is going to die. Like, Max isn't coming out of this. Like, she already died, so to speak.
She died and came back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that
Yeah.
happen.
I think you might be onto something there. What's so confusing to me, and it's fine if they don't explain everything. Like, I liked the show Lost. I didn't need everything explained. I still enjoyed the show, and like made me think
Can I
about
just
a lot
point
of
out
stuff.
the fact, by the
But
way, that while this series so far has been rated well on Rotten Tomatoes, I've seen a lot of negativity online that fans are like, if this happens, I'm going to hate it. If this happens, I don't like this. I don't like that.
yeah, but I
You
don't like that.
enjoyed, but hold on. You like Lost and you liked how it ended when most people think it's one of the worst endings ever. And then you also liked the Game of Thrones ending, which also most people find has the worst ending of TV ever.
If they paid attention, they would know how that was going to end. And they didn't
I'm
pay
just
attention.
saying, tracking wise, it's interesting to hear your points of view because I know based on other shows, I'm very interested to see what you think when the series is over. Obviously, we have no
Me
idea,
too.
but
And, there's been like Seinfeld's my favorite show of all time. I thought it was Larry David made the dumbest choice for the finale. I thought it was one of the worst finales in the history of
yeah, it was pretty
television, but
bad.
it's still my
Yeah, yeah,
favorite show ever.
yeah.
So like I don't usually let finales kill me. Usually finales aren't good because it has to live up to some, however many years of a show's expectations.
Sure, sure.
How I Met Your Mother, that was a huge one because people were like, how are they going to land? How are they going to finish this one off?
Yeah.
So, I don't remember what I was saying, but
We were talking about Max and like how it's just getting too complicated because it's like this inside of this inside of this inside of
that's
this.
the
And it's
thing.
like,
Yeah, yeah. So there are a bunch of theories going on. I know I've had, my thoughts, and I do think that we are going to get some sort of a flashback to the boys playing the game again, which makes me wonder because they did say they filmed something with the boys during the first season for the
mm-hmm,
end.
mm-hmm.
There's a theory about the whole time element, and I think there's legitimacy to it because, Vecna's whole thing was always about that clock and the ticking and ringing of that grandfather clock and how he's seemingly looking for 12 kids when every hand on the clock. And then Dustin reveals that that wall around the upside down is a circle, just like a clock. And we've already seen in season 4 that certain pathways into the upside down aren't in present day. Like they were like, remember they were in Nancy's room and her diary was there or
Yeah,
something
but it was from like the
2
years
years
ago or something.
before or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So there is a time element here. So I'm taking that part of it and then remembering that the Duffer Brothers said they filmed something with the boys, like playing the game during season 1 for the ending or something like that. It is very, very possible that what happens at the end of Stranger Things is that they change time. And in other words, like by killing the mind flare, they're able to not necessarily go back in time and reset, but they're able to like reset how the world is and put things back to where they were. So it is possible that this isn't a dream and the boys were just playing the game and we're seeing the fantasy of their game play out. The Duffer Brothers said what is happening is real. So with the whole time element that they keep peppering in, and we know that different parts of the Upside Down take place in different parts that are not the same time as the present in the right side up, adding to the whole the metaphors with the circle and the clock and the time and all of those things. And if they film that scene, it's possible that this show ends with a reset and the boys are back at the table and they were able to undo what happened and they're kids again. That is very possible that that's how Stranger Things can end.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? The one scene where Will draws like what he's seeing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
clearly like the people pods with the one pod in the middle. The question is like, will be the one in the middle of that pod? Will Holly Wheeler be the one in the middle? Is Henry in the middle? Because that's one of the theories I've been seeing going around is like, it was kind of shown to us, insinuated that Vecna is Henry. But then people are like, well, maybe Vecna's not Henry. Maybe Henry is Henry, and then Henry's his first
Oh yeah, Vecna's
prisoner.
Henry.
Right. But
Yeah.
some people are saying that maybe Henry has been separated from Vecna and like he's his own person again or
Well,
something.
how I understand it is, I remember Dustin saying like Vecna is the Mind Flayer's 5-star general, and it is possible that Vecna is now trying to pull a Vader Palpatine and like defeat the Mind Flayer. So that's why he's trying to get his own army of kids the way what was the freaking Brenner? Papa, that guy,
Yeah,
Matthew Modine.
the evil
The way,
scientist, yeah.
yeah, the way he got, 11, 12 kids, Vecna's trying to get his own to stop the mind flare to create his own universe the way he wants to make it. And someone pointed out, I didn't pick up on this, that Holly, I guess, is wearing the same dress that Henry's sister wore back in the flashbacks when he
Yeah,
killed his whole family. It
yeah.
seems like he's trying to redo his life and recreate his family because he has guilt for having killed them. So he's like, Holly's like taking over the role of his sister, and that sort of thing might be playing out too. So there's a lot of moving parts.
Wasn't his
And
dad a salesman too? And he's like being a salesman? Wasn't
well, and his
Henry's
dad's
dad a
did
salesman?
he die? Because Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself, played Victor Creel, the father, in that asylum in season 4.
I
I think
feel
he's
like he
still
was wearing
alive.
the same outfit with the pocket watch. I feel like I remember that. And then he sat down for dinner and that's when everything went bananas. But like I feel like was a traveling salesman.
Yeah, I think you might be right, and
So then
maybe
he's
he's trying
being
to.
his dad.
Yeah.
So the
So
question is who's going to be him and who's going to be the mom?
yeah, and someone brought up a great point online, and a bunch of people brought this up, and I saw it immediately too. Like, why would if Vecna knows that music is the one thing that can block people from him getting into their mind, and vice versa, why would he give her a boombox with a cassette tape so that she could do that? So is he protecting her? Why didn't he kill Joyce? He just pushed her aside. Why didn't he kill Will? And then people brought up the element that I didn't really think about because I haven't seen it, the
Mhm.
play, the Stranger
Yeah,
Things
that
play.
that has Hopper. That's someone online. I have to laugh at this. Someone was like, "Well, James isn't Jim, so clearly it's not the same person." And I was like, "Bro, guys, come on. We don't need to be
James is Jim.
over-explained.
James is
Please,
Jim.
please, please,
Yeah.
please." Yeah. Yeah, I saw the play poster thing with James Hopper and everybody there. So it's like,
They're all in it.
what is
Karen
this weird
Wheeler.
high school reunion going on?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
So
just
there's
really,
something to it all that
yeah,
connects all the
it's
adults more than we thought
yeah, or that he's targeting specific people related to those adults.
because he's trying to recreate the life that he never had or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think there is something to all of that. So, granted, we're not even halfway through season 5 because you have 3 more episodes on Christmas, but then a 2.5 hour movie essentially on New Year's.
No, we are
So
halfway. Isn't it 8?
it's 8, but like I'm saying, the last one is like 2.5 hours long.
Oh, you're saying time-wise, we're not
Yeah,
halfway through.
yeah,
Okay.
right. So there's just and as we're talking about it, there's so many moving parts here, so that we're really not sure what is going to happen, and that's fine. I just hope they're able to sort everything out. But I got to give props to Finn Wolfhard. He is so good, and I feel like
He's so good.
he has gotten better every season. And it's not even just Finn Wolfhard, because I have seen him in other stuff, of course, and I like him in other stuff. Mike Wheeler, I love that character. And you know why I love Mike Wheeler? Because he bucks the trend of the person who would get jilted by miscommunication or feelings and stuff. They never clog up the plot with Mike being confused or misunderstanding someone or getting angry at someone. He always just understands why something happened and always believes in people. He's so good to his friends. Like, Mike Wheeler
Mhm.
is like the best character person of goodness in this show. I absolutely love Mike Wheeler. I think he's like we've been talking about on Nerdy Nights about James Gunn's Superman and restoring that just really good, earnest person who wants to help people and cares about people. That's Mike Wheeler. And I think I just really wanted to point that out because a lot of people don't talk about Mike as much as maybe they should, because I feel like he's getting a little lost in the sauce because he's not being victimized this season directly. He's
Mhm.
just sort of there trying to help everyone get through this.
Mhm.
But he is becoming a leader more so. He's more vocal and he's more confident and stuff like that. But in terms of his care and his compassion and goodness, like, that guy never wavered, where everyone always had their moments. Like, even Dustin now is having his moments. Like, Mike has been the North Star of just pure goodness. Because even Steve Harrington was a piece of crap in the first season, right? He was a bully. It's like
He
all these
was.
people went through these moments. Like Nancy wasn't very nice to Mike. She was that older sister who was annoyed by her brother. She was
She's
part of like
very
the
angry this season, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah, and she's gonna kill Vecna, I think.
You think
I have a
so?
feeling because I feel like they got close season 4, and after he what happened to her parents, and now what happened to Holly. Mike's not a trigger person. I think Natalie or Natalie Dyer, Nancy, is going to be the one that has the sort of
Do you think it's when Jonathan dies?
maybe, maybe, but she's going to have that Brody moment like at the end of Jaws, and she's going to take out the mind flayers like with one shot or something. I feel like we think it's going to be Will or 11 because of the powers, but I feel like Nancy's going to show up with that last shot they
11's
need.
done that though. That's the thing about 11 is like we've seen her do everything.
I
So at
don't
this
want her
point
to
she
do
has
it.
to
Yeah.
she has to team up with that girl from Chicago. That's basically
Yep.
what's going to happen. And then got to team up with Will, who now has these powers or some type of magnet broadcast powers. We don't really understand them yet. Because she can't do it herself. That's clear. She can't do it. She did a couple things early on season 1. She like drove back the Demogorgon, but she was never able to like take over or kill Vecna because all she's done is kind of cause more damage than
Well,
good.
she created him. So
She
yeah.
did. She did.
Yeah.
It's her fault. Yeah,
I
we'll
do
see
agree
how
with
it
you
goes.
though. I don't want I every time I see 11 like doing her hand thing, I'm like, I don't care anymore. I everyone else has lifted their game in story, I'm saying, not actors. With
Mhm.
like they're growing up and they gotta do this or they're all gonna die. And they've all sort of taken on the burden and they've all carried their weight in all their varying ways. Where she's not as important as, like you were saying, the simplicity of season 1, where it's like we're helpless kids and she can literally lift vans and like kill tanks and stuff. Now
Yeah.
that the playing field in terms of these kids being heroes is more even. Now you add Will being able to channel Vecna's powers. There's more opportunities for them. But did you hear about the D&D theory and the number 20 thing? Have you heard that?
No, what's that theory?
So when Eddie was playing the game last season, the D&D game, and Erica comes in, to join because they didn't have because her brother
And
wasn't
she
there.
was taken.
She had no Erica, Lucas's sister.
Yeah, I think she was taken at the end, wasn't she? Isn't
No.
she the one that's dragged through the hole?
No.
No, that was someone else. I thought that Lucas is looking at her get dragged through the hole.
Oh, I hope not.
I thought he was with her in that
In this
tunnel.
season?
Yeah. Wasn't he
Oh,
with her in that tunnel?
I thought she got out. Anyway.
Am I going crazy? She was in the tunnel with him, and I think the Demogorgon started to attack. And then at the very end, he looks up and he sees her getting dragged through the thing. And she says, "Help me." Is that someone else? I'm so confused.
I thought it was one of the other kids that were trying to
Oh,
get
was it?
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But anyway, the theory was, if you remember that game, Dustin rolled an 11, which wouldn't kill Vecna, and they needed one more strike to kill Vecna or whatever. And Erica rolls a 20, which did it and ended the campaign. It killed Vecna. And some crazy fans, I don't know how they figure this out, but they go, all right, you have 11. And then they found 8 was the one that they were actually harboring at that facility, and that's 19. How do you get to 20? Number 1, which is Henry Creel Vecna. So will they roll the 20 with the 3 of them, which means Henry, aka Vecna, is going to help them kill the mind flare, and that's your 20 to make it coincide with the D&D element. It made a lot of sense. It's kind of out
Or
there,
is it Will?
but
Because Will's partially Vecna now.
or
And
is
that's
he
why
the
he
new number 1? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many moving parts, and what a nerdy conversation when you think about it that we're having right now.
Yeah.
But that's why we have this podcast is titled what it is. But I'm really I'm enjoying it. I'm going for the ride, and I totally appreciate and understand your criticisms, and I voiced mine as well.
Mhm.
But I'm feeling good heading into the second half. mostly because I really trust the Duffer Brothers, and they did say they knew where they wanted to go with this pretty early on. So it's not one of those hodgepodge, like, we just got to figure out an ending thing. I really do think they know their end game. They
Yeah.
may get a little messy, as we just saw getting there, but I think as we're getting to the second half of the season, we may see the dust settle a bit in certain areas and things be more clear in how we get to the final scenes to close out the show.
Sure. Yeah. I think one thing we didn't really talk about, which I was curious what you thought is, um, a lot of people have pointed out that the characters are constantly being like the ones that have connected or seen Vecna have said that there's something he's hiding or something he's not showing me or I can't see this thing. What do you think that thing is? And B, why do you think he was so afraid of the cave?
That's a good question. The cave thing, if they're in his memories, I would have to imagine something happened to him in that cave when he was
Right.
a kid.
Yes.
Cuz it's within running distance of his home. We know they run, and he mapped it out for, well, actually Max was the one who left the map for Holly, and she thought it was
Mhm.
Henry. But something had to have happened to him. Like did he first feel his powers in that cave or something like that? It's gonna be something like that. Like something that really set his trajectory in terms of what he was gonna become happened in that cave, I think. Um that I feel like it's just one of those things, like basic trauma. Like what traumatic thing
Do you think they're
is
gonna tell
keeping.
you what happened in the cave?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
'Cause
they'll
episode 6 is the episode escape from whatever it is. There's some other word. And
it
then
the word, the comatose, which is the
yeah.
word for where they are in Henry's mind. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, focusing on her, Sadie, AKA Max, and directed by Shawn Levy. So they're chasing again that running up that hill moment with
Yeah.
Shawn Levy. So I'm interested to see what happens. But if we were, because it feels like we're kind of wrapping up here, which is understandable because we've been talking for a while here. If you were to guess who's gonna die, let's start with part one. So we're through part one. Who's
Mhm.
gonna die? And maybe we'll change our answers as the parts go. Well, obviously only next part, but
You want me to name every character I think is gonna die?
from the main ones.
I hope Murray doesn't die. I love Murray. Murray, his comic relief, but also, like, I love how he is so savvy and so good that every time he does something, I'm like, man, I'm glad he's on our side. You know, you know what I mean? And Brett Gelman is just so funny. So
Mhm.
I hope he doesn't die. But in terms of the main characters, I do think Henry and Eleven are both gonna die. So Vecna and 11. I do not think Hopper or Joyce are going to die. Um, I don't think Will is going to die. I know you do, so we can maybe end by debating that and making a bet. Mike Wheeler better not die, because everything I just said about him. And the reason I don't want Will to die is because he's been through absolute hell since the very first episode, and him dying would leave me with a feeling of hopelessness. So I hope they don't kill Will. Dustin is absolutely not dying. Uh, I think, like I said before, it's either Jonathan or Steve that are going to die. And right now, because of the whole engagement thing and tugging at people's hearts, I feel like it's Jonathan that's going to die,
It's
which means
Jonathan.
Steve is going to live. Nancy is going to live. Like I said, I think she's going to have a huge hero moment to finish the job, whether that's Mind Flare or Vecna. And I think Robin's going to live. I know you said you think she's going to die, but I think that's really the main cast. I think both Wheeler parents are going to survive. They had their
What about Lucas?
scary moment. He will live. Lucas will
What
live.
about Max?
I think Max is going to live. I think she's going to come back as soon as Henry dies. Her and Holly, I know it says escape from his brain, so maybe they do escape on their own. But as soon as he dies, if they're living in his memory, shouldn't they be ejected from that then? I don't know. This isn't real Earth, So who knows what they do,
I
but
mean, the only thing with Max that might end up working out is she gets out and then wakes up from her coma, but Holly doesn't. So then she has the inside of like, guys, I know how to save Holly. I know how to do this. That
that's a
they
good
don't
point. I
know.
think that's a really smart approach. Yeah, because Holly's actually trapped physically in the
Right.
upside
Whereas
down,
Max
and
isn't.
Max knew how to get out. Yeah.
So I could see Max getting out and then
Mhm.
being like, guys, I saw Holly. I know she's in there. Like I can
She
help.
did that. You know what? I think you're right because she did tell Holly, like, go back to the house. If
Yeah.
you don't do this and play along, this is never going to work. So I think you're right. I think Max is the one that escapes. You're right. I think you
And
nailed that.
Holly's
Yeah.
stuck.
And then
Yeah.
they find out how to get Holly out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. But what about you? What about the rundown? Any agreements or disagreements? What's your list?
Well, I originally said Max was gonna die, but now that I just said that, I don't think she's gonna die. I think she's gonna get out. Um, because she needs to be the inside scoop on what's going on.
Or how about
Uh,
I name the characters and you tell me about that?
okay, go.
So I'll go with the big four first. Mike Wheeler,
No.
not dying.
Nope.
Uh, Dustin Henderson,
No.
Lucas Sinclair,
No.
Will Byers.
Yes.
All right. 11.
Yes.
Okay. You already said Max. You're changing on that. Max is living. Steve or Jonathan? Who's dying?
Steve is living. Jonathan's dying.
All right, so we're on the same page on that one. Hopper and Joyce.
They're fine. They've
How about
they've already done the is Hopper gonna die? Oh my
I
god, he
agree.
disappeared. Oh, he's in Russia. We've already done
Yeah.
that.
I think we're gonna see they're still together and sort of happy after all this ends, and I think they both deserve it. Robin, you said she's dying. You still
Dead.
agree? Yeah.
Dead.
Okay. I feel like that death wouldn't be big enough. So if she's dying, someone else has to go. And
Lucas. Max
then
comes back and Lucas dies.
how about the Wheeler parents? Are they gonna get over their injuries and live?
I think they're both fine because the
Okay.
moment that they didn't die from a Demogorgon, like which the reason I felt like Karen's was so cheap is because they had her get hurt and then she was fine and then she's like writing all this stuff on the piece of paper and I was like this to me feels very much like the conversation we had on this podcast weeks ago when someone was saying that Netflix tells them they have to write stories a certain way so that if people aren't paying attention on their phones or they aren't paying attention to the story, you have to dumb it down for them. And the fact that the way that they laid out that whole reveal of Henry felt to me like they were like, do you get it? Do you understand? Do you
Right.
need another hint? Like
Right.
it felt very Blue's Clues. Like, where's the clue?
So
Oh,
wait a
what
minute.
could this be? Just
That's true. You don't want to get beaten over the head too much with it.
and you
But
see and they cut to Nancy and Mike, and of course, they're wonderful actors, but they cut to him and they're both like and it's like, come on, guys. Like, it's not
yeah,
you need 6 different clues about this?
I do like another part I didn't bring up before, and then we'll just do a recap of our, you know, our death guesses. But though I do like that they were able to slow things down a lot, and with so much moving on, they were able to have a lot of pretty good heart to heart one-on-one moments. I did actually like. I know I said Mike doesn't really seem to care about Holly, but it's only because his focus is on everything that's going on. His one-on-one with his sister when he told her to be brave and stuff, that was such a sweet moment when the
It
teachers were
was.
talking about her.
Yeah.
I really like that scene a lot. I didn't love the rooftop one-on-one between 11 and Mike as much, actually. So I don't know
No.
why I feel that way. But they're doing a good job of making sure we still care about these characters that have been here for since the beginning, while also giving us all this crazy action and stuff like that. But all right, so to recap, we both think Eleven's dying, we both think Jonathan is dying, and we both you think Will's dying, I don't, and I think all the others. Oh, and you think Robin's dying, and I don't. So you have
Mhm.
more death on your plate than me. Um, which you may be right. I mean, it's probably more likely than not that Will dies. I'll admit that. I just don't want him to because he's been through absolute hell since he was like 10 years old.
Just
or whatever.
remember that when they read the last episode out at the table read, everybody said they were sobbing. So why would they be sobbing unless someone dies?
Well, someone's going to die. I just don't want it to be Will. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
that's fair.
Like, I need him to have a good life. That kid had his childhood ripped away from him, and he was tormented in hell. So I feel
Fair.
bad for Will.
Fair.
That's why I think that's why that moment at the end of season 4 meant a lot to me. I was like, hell yeah, dude! Finally, like, yes. It felt so damn.
He does
earned.
come across a little whiny in the past few seasons that you're like, ugh.
You're like, all right, get rid of this kid.
Yeah, kind of.
No, but yeah, I think that does sort of wrap it up. Obviously, there's a lot more to talk about, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more because I'm probably going to rewatch some of these because there was a lot. But yeah, any final thoughts, Lacey, before we hop out on this Nerdy Monday?
No, I look forward to seeing where this season goes. I think my thoughts and initial reaction, which probably wasn't as positive as I would hoped, might be different once the season is over.
Sure.
Like, I might be able to go back and rewatch these and be like, oh, yeah, I didn't like that originally, but now it makes sense because X, Y, and Z happened later.
And I might go the other way. What if
So
it's a
before
total
people hate on
disaster?
me
Yeah.
on social media about this, I'm honest. I'm going to tell you how it is. And I'll just say that I left these 4 episodes being like, maybe this show has peaked. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I still think season 4 is stronger, but like I said, we're not even halfway through the runtime on this final season. So we may look back on these first 4 episodes like we had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, we
So
couldn't even imagine.
So again,
yeah.
this is just a discussion based on essentially one half of a season, but I'm glad we talked about it. I had a lot of fun talking about it. So
Which is
I'm glad we
hard
did
to
this.
talk about a series when you're only halfway through. But
Yeah, right. But it'll be fun to revisit this chat once we see everything, you know, and you know, make fun of myself for, make fun of ourselves for our wrong speculation, and then maybe
I mean,
also
look,
some good ones. But
at the end of the day, whatever my thoughts are don't matter because this show still crashed Netflix on Thanksgiving. So
it's
or
the
the day before
juggernaut, the
Thanksgiving.
show,
Yeah.
and they're marketing it so great.
They have their own
There's-
intro going into
Yeah,
it has its own like Netflix Stranger Things intro, which I found interesting. As soon as the show opened, I was like, oh, they even have an intro now for Netflix that's Stranger Things themed. And going back to the Thanksgiving Day parade at the beginning of the show, they did have a Stranger Things float where Foreigner performed, and they had a Demogorgon and they had people in lab suits. And I was like, look, like this is big enough that it's on the main stage for the US on Thanksgiving. Like, no matter what I think, it's still gonna
Lacey,
get the views.
do one last guess.
Mm.
Even though the Duffer Brothers dismissed it, will we see him again?
Eddie? I think we're going to. I think they said that and they're lying.
But no flashback, no cheating. Like, oh,
No,
remember
I
that
think
time Eddie did this? No. Like, will
I
we see
think
Eddie again?
he's in the Upside Down.
Alive?
Yeah.
Interesting. I prepared that we're not. It's just, you know, but
because like we've seen before in past seasons that if someone's in the normal universe and someone's in the Upside Down, they can still view what's going on in the normal dimension, even though they're in the like 11 was watching people while in the Upside Down and like
yeah,
getting
but he got
waffles and
killed.
stuff. No, I know, but I'm just saying like I could see it being something that it ends up he's alive and Dustin's like, how is this? He's like, I heard you, man. Like, you know, sitting at his grave, like Eddie's there, but in the Upside Down. I just think there's a
Unless
lot of questions or like in the hotel, like not with Eddie. This is completely separate. I'm just going down a tangent right now. The scene where Max's tape runs out, there's been a lot of questions of like, did someone turn the tape off or did it run out of tape?
I think it just hit the end of the tape. Yeah.
That's what I
'Cause
think,
because
because
then
I
he
know how
rewound it.
cassettes work.
Yeah.
I know how
Yeah.
cassettes work, but some people were like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
"Oh, did someone use their mind to shut it off?"
No, come on.
I saw some people saying that, and I was like, "No,
Oh,
no, no." So
jeez.
cassettes only go for so long, and then they stop, and then you have to
Then you gotta
rewind them.
flip it to the other side, yeah.
It's just the luck of the draw that it happened to go off right when she was at the end there.
Yeah.
No, I think he's gonna show up again. I think they're lying. And the reason I think that is because originally a lot of producers, creators, actors, studios, writers, etc. would never lie. But in the past 2 years, we've seen that that is completely inaccurate
Oh, yeah.
and that they
Yeah.
lie all the time. And then at the end of it, they go, "Sorry, we didn't want to ruin it for you." And sorry, that was part of the fun. And
And
and sometimes they talk around it. Like Hayden Christensen was very good of like never blatantly lying. But then
mhm.
there are people like Liam Neeson who lied. And I'm using Star Wars as an example because it's happened a lot. I think the Duffer Brothers are lying and that Eddie is gonna come back. The fact that there's a
Yeah.
focus on him, the fact that the trailer had a song that was an Eddie Munson type song in it,
Yeah. At the
it's
premiere, they were playing Master of Puppets. For season 5, they were playing Master of
I'm
Puppets.
sorry, I think he's coming back. I think he's a bigger piece of this puzzle.
There's also the element of a character becoming bigger than you thought they were going to become. And it's like when they wrote Eddie, they're probably like, he's gonna sort of be like Billy, but he's like a good guy. Where Billy was always
Yeah,
this a-hole and then he gets,
yeah.
consumed. He'll be popular and girls will like him, and then he'll come and go and stuff like that. I know people are still like upset about Billy. Oh, is Billy coming back? But when Eddie like blew up. Eddie Munson became this
Oh,
juggernaut
huge,
thing, fan
huge.
favorite. People loved him. It launched Joseph Quinn's
Chrissy,
career.
wake up.
When something like that happens, sometimes it forces the hand
Yes, a
of the
little
creators
scale
to
of
bring someone back. Yeah.
mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see. Look at, I mean,
And
Boba
people
Fett.
had that
They brought him
vampire
back.
theory in D&D where if someone
Yeah.
gets bit by vampires, which he got bit by a bunch of bats, scratched, whatever, that they come back as another character. So, sure, maybe he did die, but we've seen Max already say that she died and now she's back. What's to
Yeah.
say that Eddie couldn't be lying there
And you
and
know
then
what?
a day later wakes up and he's alive, but he can't come back because he's
And
whatever character
if
now?
he does come back, people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's kind of cheap. It makes season 4, feel like." I'm gonna be like, "I don't care. I think this is amazing. I'm so glad he's back. This is awesome. I'm happy for Dustin. I'm happy for Eddie. I'm happy for rock and
I
roll. I'm
think
happy
he's
for
coming
heavy
back, and I
metal."
think Duffer Brothers went into that knowing they were gonna be asked that question over and over and over again, and they're trying to get ahead of it.
We'll see.
Um, because the way they spoke about it too was like, "Oh, yeah, no, his death is so people love that," and, like, Netflix always pushes that scene where he's on top of the trailer playing the guitar, and like you said, they were playing it at the premiere and all this other stuff. And then on the other side of the equation, like, Barb was a huge thing in the 1st season, and the Duffer Brothers were like, "No, we're not bringing her back. She's dead, dead." And they
I
were
mean, they,
very adamant
yeah.
in their in their interviews with Variety, I think it was. They were like, "Would you ever bring Barb back, or is Barb coming back?" And they're like, "No, Barb's not coming back." And they even
What?
said like, "Yeah, Netflix wanted us to bring her back and we didn't." But then when they
Yeah.
talk about Eddie, they go on this whole thing about like how it's important that the character died, but at the same time, like he was such an important character to the story. They don't say like they just kind of say like, "Oh yeah, he wouldn't come back," but they don't go in the same definite tone that they do with Barb, where they're
We'll
like, "No,
see.
she's dead."
Yeah. But yeah, let's put a pin on it there. We'll see what happens with that. I'm still mentally preparing that he's not coming back. But again, I go into these shows, whatever the Duffer Brothers, that's their story, and we're here to just absorb it. So I'm just gonna go
Sure.
for the ride. But thank you to everybody who got nerdy with us on this episode, a special episode, obviously Stranger Things, biggest show in the world, and we had to talk about these big, fat, over hour long episodes of
Yep.
Volume 1 for
Mhm.
Stranger Things 5. So we'll obviously be back after Christmas and New Year's to talk about the rest of the season. But we hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Whether this is the first time you checking us out, or you're an old school TRB person, or you've just been a Nerdy and Nice fan, we appreciate it so much. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Nerdy and Nice Pod on social media, Nerdy and Nice on Apple, Spotify, and you can watch the video version on YouTube, youtube.com/@TRB podcasts. And then, of course, our Star Wars podcast, the Resistance broadcast, We'll be back live on Thursday night to talk all about Galaxy Far, Far Away. And then, yeah, check out our website, trbpodcast.com, for our merch. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/trbpodcast. You can support the show. We had a few people just sign up recently. A lot of people bought our merch. Thank you so much. It means a great deal to us. It allows us to keep doing what we're doing, because the two voices you're hearing or seeing on your screen, this is TRB. We do it all. And your support allows us to keep doing that and allows us to grow. So thank you so much. Johnny Hoey for me on Blue Sky is the best spot. Let's talk about Stranger Things. I want to hear all the theories. I want you to tell me my thoughts are crazy. Let's have fun talking about it, because I love this. This is like 90% of what I love about podcasting is nerding out about this stuff. So hit me up. Lacey, where can people find you to do the same?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran, at It's Lacey Gilleran on TikTok, and of course here and on TRB.
All right, that'll do it for us. We hope we cured your Monday post-holiday blues. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week right here on Nerdy and Nice. See you around, kids.